Good morning, students. Today we are going to start our today's section. And the last class we have learned about three schools of taxonomy, numerical, evolutionary, and cladism. And today we are going to see molecular taxonomy. What is molecular taxonomy? We need to understand that. As the name indicate, it depends on, based on the molecular, what difference, what similarity exists based on molecular aspects, molecular level between the organisms. Based on that property, that aspect, classifying organisms. That is molecular taxonomy. Depends on the molecular similarity between the organisms. And this taxonomy, this branch is a combination of traditional systematics. Systematics, we know that it is a study of the evolutionary relationship, everything like that. So it is this molecular taxonomy is a combination of traditional systematics and bioinformatics. What is bioinformatics? Bioinformatics is a combination of biology and information technology. IT is a special branch of science. It's a combination of biology and informational technology. That's what it's called, bioinformatics. So molecular taxonomy itself is a combination of that systematics and bioinformatics. So we can call molecular taxonomy as a computational systematics. Computational, that involves with the help of computing devices for making systematics, that relationship for gaining knowledge, information regarding the evolutionary relationship between organisms. What's the main principle? Here in molecular taxonomy, its main foundation is based on molecular data. Molecular data means molecular aspect, based on what details, what speciality, what is the nature of DNA, RNA, proteins. Based on that, this type of taxonomy classify organisms. That's the main principle. Some misconception, some mistake that earlierly we have is solved with the advent of this molecular taxonomy. Which are the misconceptions, misbeliefs? Before that, before the advent of molecular taxonomy, Mixozoa, it is classified with the protist. But according to molecular taxonomy, they are a part of they are a certain type of cnidarians, not protists. Then next one is the previously whales are not considered as mammals, but with the advent of molecular taxonomy, they prove that whales are more related to ungulates, means large mammals with hooves like pigs, antelope, deers. And also it proved the symbiotic origin of mitochondria and chloroplast. What is symbiotic origin? Symbiotic, symbiosis. Symbiosis means an association, because I think you all know that mitochondria, they say endosymbiote hypothesis is there. Endosymbiote hypothesis means mitochondria primitively it is a prokaryotic organisms that is free living, and somehow it enters the body of a eukaryote and make an association with that eukaryote and become a part of that. Such type of that relationship, such type of origin is called symbiotic association. Mitochondria and chloroplast that now present in plant cell and animal cells are previously in primitive condition, primitively they are free prokaryotes. That also proved with the molecular taxonomy. And also it helps for developing DNA barcoding. DNA barcoding means Suppose in the case of human beings, there is 23 pairs of chromosomes are there, right? And one chromosome number 1, chromosome number 2, 3, 4, 5, till 23. Each one is taken and studied what all the its DNA each chromosomes carries, what are its sequences, all that understanding that details is called DNA bar coding. By knowing the DNA bar code of each organism, we can distinguish that organisms very clearly from other species. Okay. Then what are the importance of the classification? So we finish this section, going to another part. I'm going to classification. First we are going to see importance of classification. What is important? By classifying organisms, because our planet biosphere is rich with numerous species. It's not possible to observe and to study each and everyone. After the arrival of this classification system, we can reduce that enormous number to observable number of groups of species. We group organisms having similar properties into several species. So in that way, that process of gaining or the process of observing or understanding these numerous species become very easy. Then next importance is that it gives an insight into the biodiversity of our planet. With the advent of, as the scientists start to classify organisms, only they know the biodiversity of our planet. And also it helps to understand what phylogenetic relationship between different organisms. Phylogenetic means consider if there is one organism from which ancestor it evolves. That phylogenetic relationship between different organisms, for understanding that also classification helped a lot. Then it helps in utilizing economically important species of organisms, which all organisms are economically important. For understanding that, we need to classify such type of organisms. So in that way also it is very important. And also for increasing productivity in various fields, we need to understand which species is better, which strain is more good. For such a point of view also, classification helps a lot. Next importance is that through classification we understand about various harmful pests, and we studied and realized which pest management program is effective with respect to a particular pest. So that way also it's important. Next one, we can understand identifying many pathogenic organisms. After understanding or identifying such way or various pathogenic organisms, only we are able to develop some treatment strategies to cure. Now itself we know that about the coronavirus is very it's very common that we all know that, because first we studied about all our scientists learned about this virus, and then only they are able to develop an effective vaccine against that. That's what. So we need to identify. For that identification, DNA barcoding is very necessary. Okay, next. And also it helps in developing proper strategies for conserving biodiversity. Only after knowing the features, nature, and identifying an organism, only then we can know that using what strategies we can conserve its biodiversity. Next one, it helps to identify many biological indicators. Also in environment, so many indicator plants are there. For identifying and classifying such type of plants, helps us to utilize them as an agent for pollution, environmental pollution control, because they can indicate if there is a pollution is present in any place, that plant species will certainly indicate that. So in that way also classification is significant. And with the advent of molecular taxonomy, we can understand genetic similarities between different species. Okay. Then scientific classification. There's some root level difference exists between systematics and classification. Systematics means it is a reconstruction and study of evolutionary relationship. Evolutionary relationship study is systematic. Classification is the arrangement. That's the difference. It's the arrangement of species and higher groups in a hierarchy. Kingdom, phylum, and finally ends up with the species, genus, species. Yeah, that hierarchy. How that hierarchy goes on from one taxa to next taxa. From the kingdom based on some common characters. Another group is taxa is forming phylum, then phylum based on some other group of common characters, then came the next class. In that way, that hierarchy is called, that way of arrangement is called the scientific, it's classification. Then we are going to see different types of classifications. First one is two kingdom classification. It is formulated by Carolus Linnaeus in the mid of 18th century. Two kingdom means only two kingdom present in that time. They are Plantae and Animalia. Plants we know they cannot move, they cannot eat, and they have cell wall. Animals can move, they can eat, and they lack cell wall. What's the drawback? Because for your examination, be sure questions like this and to write about either two kingdom, three kingdom, or five kingdom, and along with that, you need to quote its drawbacks also. So drawbacks of this two kingdom classification is that in this two kingdom classifications, they place eukaryotes and prokaryotes together. And the another drawback is that in plant kingdom there were species which are photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic, but they are placed together according to this two kingdom, because there is only plant kingdom, and also there are some animals. They show both animal as well as plant characters. They also is no precise or distinguished position for such animals. Example is euglena. That's the drawbacks. Next slide. Three kingdom classification. Three kingdom classification, in this type, one more kingdom is added. That additional kingdom is Monera. It is formulated or instituted by Ernest Haeckel. Names you need to keep in memory. Monera, that includes bacteria and blue-green algae. Monera, in that kingdom, what comes? Bacteria and blue-green algae. What's this drawback? Three kingdom classification. Here also no separation between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. And also heterotrophic bacteria and fungi. They are placed along with the autotrophic. Autotrophic, heterotrophic. I think you are known about the terms. Autotrophic means they can prepare their own food. Heterotrophic means they depend on autotrophs. Coming to five kingdom classification. It is formulated by Robert H. Whittaker. Spelling mistake is there. Then kingdoms are there: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. Then Monera means it includes simplest organisms like bacteria and their relatives. What is features? They are simple, have simple organization. They didn't have any membrane bound nucleus. They lack some organelles that is present in eukaryotes. And they include true bacteria, mycoplasma, photosynthetic cyanobacteria all come under this Monera. Next, Protista. Protista includes is a collection of unicellular or colonial eukaryotes. Unicellular or colonial eukaryotes. This is the picture. Eukaryotes. Some are photosynthetic, some are heterotrophic. Photosynthetic, heterotrophic also, then they are plant-like, fungus-like, or animal-like organisms. Then fungi means they are multicellular, non-motile chemoheterotrophs from the chemical substance. They synthesize their food materials. They have unique reproductive methods and their own life cycle. They lack photosynthetic pigments. Some fungi are like filaments with many nuclei. Then plant means multicellular eukaryotic organism with cellulosic cell wall. Those organisms have cellulosic cell wall and chloroplast comes under plant. They are all photoautotrophs. Then animalia what? Animalia means all multicellular animals without cell wall comes under animalia. They are all heterotrophs. What are the advantages? Yeah, the five kingdom is based on the complexity of cell structure, body organization, and the mode of nutrition. So it is superior over other two type of classification. And in five kingdom, there is a separate kingdom for organisms showing both plant and animal characteristics. And also it retains this five kingdom classification retain all prokaryotes as a separate kingdom called Monera. They retain prokaryotes as a separate kingdom. And also a separate kingdom is present for fungi. Those are the advantages. Then what are the disadvantages? This Monera and Proteus are paraphyletic groups. Paraphyletic groups we need to understand. Say a diagram. This diagram, we need to understand what is paraphyletic, cladistic, what is monophyletic. Monophyletic means this is a monophyletic group. It's also monophyletic. Means first I will tell you about paraphyletic. Paraphyletic, this green colored highlighted portion you need to listen. Here the ancestral group is included along with it, and so many divergent forms also included, but it excluded a subgroup. This group is not included with this one, but it also a descendant of this common ancestor. So paraphyletic means is composed of a common ancestor and its descendants, but it excludes a subgroup. That type of group is paraphyletic. Cladis means common ancestor and includes all its descendants. So Monera and Protista, these two are paraphyletic groups. It doesn't include all the descendants from the common ancestor. So this type of classification is not accepted by cladistic taxonomists. That's one disadvantage. Then next one, according to the Whittaker, there are certain criteria for classifying unicellular algae in plant at the same time unicellular organisms in fungi. Their classification, the criteria that followed in this system is not according to Whittaker. That is another disadvantage. It is not following the criteria according to Whittaker. With respect to unicellular algae and certain unicellular organism in fungi. Next disadvantages means Euglena. There is no separate kingdom for Euglena. Then next another disadvantage is animals like protist. They are treated as animals itself under the phylum Protozoa. That's another disadvantage. And with the advent of molecular taxonomy, the molecular evidences now classify all the living organisms into three domains. Three domains means archaea, bacteria and eukarya. All these domains we will learn in next class. Today we can wind up today's section. Thank you.